Welcome to this week's episode of Chapters Over Coffee. Today we're going over pages 199 to 251. Things are starting to pick up and strange things are happening, but before we dive into it, let's recap. Isla left with Grim during the battle knowing it was the one way to get him to stop the Drex with his sword. We also learned that Isla and Grim are both married and are both bound to each other, meaning if one dies, so does the other. Isla only has until the end of winter to find the portal and close it before she dies. She's trying to do everything she can in the short amount of time to extend her life and save everyone she can, even if it costs her soul. Things are happening on Nightshade. We have storms wiping out villages, someone destroying all the Nightbane, and now someone digging up bodies. Last but not least, Grim and Isla growing closer once more. I'm excited for that. Although I don't like what's gonna happen. I feel like something bad's gonna happen. Okay.
I think that it is. I think something's gonna happen and she's gonna backtrack on her feelings.
Oh,
I
I
don't
have
know.
stuff in my notes and
I feel
we'll
like
get
all of
into
a
it.
sudden I feel like all of a sudden it's too good.
Too good to be true. Yeah. Because and when we get there, I will talk about what I have in my notes because what's gonna happen later on. Okay, so going into it, we learn that Skyres draw power from blood and can only be formed with shade-made metal. Aurora, or whoever is behind talking to her, because we it hasn't, yeah, because it's really not confirmed. She's just assuming it's her because of the writing matches up, so it's not fully confirmed that she's really talking to Aurora.
Yeah.
But Aurora tells Isla through the parchment that she knows one that helps with funneling power and controlling it. Isla believes it's what she needs, a replacement for the bracelets. Skyres were most effective when bonded with objects of great power. So Isla chose a ruby that was said to be made by power and that had been passed down from generations. So when she puts the tip of the feather to the stone, it goes right through it, turning the inside of the stone liquid. Aurora had told her to act immediately while the source was fresh. And of course, even though Isla doesn't trust Aurora, what does she do? She dug the tip of the feather into her skin. Fire erupts in her veins as if her blood had been set on fire, or set aflame, sorry. Every single line has to be right, or your skin will flay from your bones. The Skyre becomes a curse that will consume you. Once it was done, damn it, she should be able to funnel her powers and control them. Her abilities now felt like they had been forged into a weapon, a sword or a dagger or a throwing star that she could throw with precision. She still believed Aurora was her enemy, but the Skyre she helped with worked. So Isla then again asked her if she knew any more, but she didn't. However, she did know where she could find some. Okay. And then going into these next sections, my heart for Grimm in these because we get his backstory. We get more of how he grew up. But I don't like where things are going. I'm on the
So
fence because in this chapter, and this is kind of jumping a little bit ahead, she wants to jump back in with Grimm, kind of where they left off. She wants to be his wife. And I do have that a little bit later. But at the same time, she's using him. And I don't like that at all. So going into this next part, Isla finds Grim in the greenhouse he built for her as a wedding gift the first time they got married. He likes to go there sometimes to think and to remember. Grim had fallen in love with a person who had barely left her room, who had never known an intimate touch, and who had no power. And Isla fell in love with a ruthless warrior who had planned to kill her at one point. She believes their love was cursed from the beginning, that it could never lead to anything good, and Grim couldn't stop thinking about her from the moment he met her. He hated it and thought she was a curse. And I love the fact that we get this heart to heart moment between them and Grim's opening up more to her because he talks about never loving anyone until he met her. He watched families walking down the streets smiling, mom and dads holding hands, because he thought it was impossible to be that happy, that love was the greatest lie, and that he didn't think that he would ever deserve it, not after everything he had done. We learn that when he was young, he was trained to be ruthless, to have the heart trained out of him. He was insured and by doing that, he was insured to never be loved by anybody that took care of him. He never knew. We did learn previously that he doesn't know who his mom is. Like he was never met his mom, which makes sense to what we find out later on about his past. He did have a guardian that he had grown attached to, and when his father found out this, he had her executed and made him watch it. His father did used to tell him that love was a disease and that love killed kingdoms, which we know from like how easy it is to steal someone's powers and then kill them pretty much. He does open up about being from a long line of heartless men, modeled after Cronin, and Cronin's cruelty was seen as a strength. And this kind of like broke my heart, but Cronin had many children, as many as he could have, and then buried them beneath the land where their power fed the land. He killed all of his children except the strongest. And then we learn that like every Nightshade ruler before Grimm had dozens and dozens of children. They were raised until they became of age, and then they were forced to compete to the death. Grimm was spared because his flare became known. Once his father had found out about it, he slaughtered the rest of Grimm's siblings. So that answers my question from a while ago that Grimm was not supposed to be next in line, which
Yep.
makes sense. He was always trained as that warrior. So he had siblings before him.
And
But
I just
his
assumed that something might have happened around the time of the curses and stuff to his siblings, not so much like his father or whatever, that maybe we would find out that his sibling was gonna be kind of like Aura's brother who like died the night of the curses and
mhm.
everything. Like it was that type of situation. Not that his father was that much of an ass that it's like, "Okay, you're indisposable, like, expendable,
Or
whatever. Like, I have no use for you, so you're just gonna give your power back to the land and
mm,
be that. And that's
or
it."
any ruler in that sense, because like they all did it up until like Grimm's gonna be the one to stop it from going. Because then Isla brings up the fact that Grimm had no children, and I think I believe that she had that like inkling feeling that maybe because of the line that she was in when they first met, because they're just supposed to have children with the women and send them on their way, like they're not supposed to stay with them.
But so, like, if he did that routinely and he's fucking ancient, like, was he intentionally not having a kid with these women and just going through the motions of
I
it?
think he
Or is
was.
it just kind of like one of those to where maybe he can't and that's that?
But
Um,
did he, we don't know, like he had these, but did he truly pick someone? Like it, I don't think it was ever stated that he actually picked somebody out of the line.
he picked her out of the line, but, like, there's records
I
of
think it was
previous women
curious.
that he had
Oh, maybe because they couldn't do it again.
picked.
But maybe he did
Mhm.
it to where they wouldn't get, like he made sure they didn't get pregnant.
Yeah.
I
See,
mean, he
that's what
can
I'm
create an
thinking.
illusion. He can create illusions.
It's called
So
faking
I
it. I
mean,
mean, like,
so see, I mean,
oh.
but she states that he has no children, and Graham tells her from the moment his father died, he knew he couldn't do it. He'd never be able to. So I think he like prevented getting anybody pregnant to continue that. Isla understood why Graham was willing to go through the portal for her because she was all he had. He had no one. Like he has no one except for Astria. That's about it. That's like the closest he has.
Does he though?
Mm.
I don't
Maybe
know.
not anymore. Maybe not anymore. Grim
She's
had noticed.
she's really walking that line.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
really walking that line now. So, we'll find
Yeah.
out.
Grim had noticed that she was no longer wearing the bracelet, and Isla lets him know that she was done hiding. Grim lets her know that he married all of her, not just the good parts, not just the good days, and tells her not to hide from him, which we've known from the beginning. He's going to let her be who she is. He's not going to hold her back like Aura would. And that's why I feel like Grim's the better choice. And I'm Team Grim because he's going to love all of her. And we find that again later out when she's truthful with him. Isla finally realizes she's been hiding from herself and she wanted so much, but it shamed her. Half of her loved Oro and always would, and the other half loved Grim unconditionally, the same way he loved her. She was done pretending that she didn't want it. She knew she needed to start working with Grim and not against him if she wanted to save Nightshade. So now we get Isla opening up to Grim on how she trusted the ones she killed, thought they had become her friends, and these are the prophet followers that took her to the island. She finally tells Grim about them. Then she tells Grim that she wants to go somewhere with only him, just like before. And this is the part that I hate because he tells her there's another palace that he believes she'll like, but it was exactly what she was hoping he'd say, the place Aurora had described. And it was an excuse, but she also wanted to give in to her desires. And that's what I hate. Like, she's finally opening up, like, hey, I truly want to be your wife. But at the same time, she's using him to get what she wants. And I hate that because it's so wrong.
Yeah.
She believes that, her and Grim understand each other and she was done pretending not to love him. So later that night, she puts on her original dress and ends up in front of Grim's room. The dress had long sheer sleeves made up of intricate, right?
Intricate, intricate.
Intricate embroidery. The design told their story, whirling in shadows, meeting blooming flowers. The bodice was low and covered in petals, the design of vines and stems curling out of them against her skin. The fabric was tight against her waist and stomach, and the silk below was smooth, all the way to the floor. So she's in front of his door. She lets him know that she was ready to try again and to be his wife. Grim tells her he won't pretend to be a good man, but he'll be good to her. He will make them happy. He swears it. She then proceeds to ask him if he remembers their wedding night and to do it all over again, to which Grim doesn't hesitate and portaled them to her room. And let me just say, I'm going to do a small summary on this, but all you smut lovers can read the scene all on your own. Like, it's spicy, but it's not like crazy spicy.
Yeah.
But you get the gist of it. But y'all can read it on your own. Grim gently takes off Isla's wedding dress, but Isla was starting to get impatient, so Grim had to let her know they have all night and he plans to enjoy every moment of it. He also tells her that she is much more beautiful than he remembers. Then gets impatient still and uses her shadows to turn his shirt into ash, then his pants. They do the wham bam, thank you, ma'am. And then on their wedding day, Grim broke out the windows, but this time he had taken precaution against it, but she tells him again, and then that he did. Told you I wasn't gonna go into detail on it. It was a lot to write. But y'all can enjoy that scene by yourselves. So going into the next chapter, they are now at the Winter Palace. It was made of harsh arches that mimic the mountains around it. And then Grimm explains that the palace was never this empty, but everyone had died. From the time he was born to the time he started training, he lived there. It was the northernmost part of Nightshade and always snowed there. Isla points out that Grimm's never taken her there, but he never did because she hates the cold. We learn that Grimm was the happiest at this palace because his father had lived in the other castle, so he was nowhere around his father, which is a good thing. So Isla told him that they could be happy there. He does portal her a wardrobe full of clothes and lets her know that all he does is think of her, which we learned that from like the previous chapters when he's always like taking or having people drop off her favorite foods, her flowers, sending her like leaving her letters. She does bring up how they first met and that the Grim then would have been disgusted by the words coming out of his mouth, but she states to him that people can change. And she has kind of seen it in him. He's still the harsh man, but he has that soft side towards her. She wanted to see him relaxed and wants him in casual clothes, so she has them portal them to the closest village and wants to be disguised as something fun. And I wish we would have known what that was. Like, what did he to like change them into? I was kind of curious, but they didn't go into detail about that. The village they went to sat in the valley of mountains that resembled carnivorous teeth. The houses were quaint, roofs folded like pieces of parchment glistening in the frost. We get some more backstory on Grimm and how he would steal candy when he was a child. His father didn't allow any candy or games or anything he thought would make him weak. When he discovered his flare at a young age and his guardians thought he was asleep, he'd go steal the candy and watch the other kids play. And then when he was old enough to be trusted with money, he went back and dropped money on the counter and left. It was enough to buy the shop. Oh, sorry. It was enough to buy the shop if he wanted to. So they go to the store. Wait, let me see here. Okay. Arriving at the store, Isla wanted Graham to try on options she picked out for him, but he wasn't having them, like having any of that. So he just tells the shop owner that he'll take one of each and handed them a stack of coin. And this brings up like I love that we're getting their banter back. Especially like they're back at their palace and she asks Grim if he's comfortable in his new clothes. And when he says it's fine, she runs her hands down his chest and asks him if he can feel this, and then suddenly he likes it more. I like that because they're like getting their banter back. And that's what I enjoyed like throughout the whole first book because it's them. Um we learned that Grimm discovered his flare when he was 7. He was locked in his room as punishment, and as he was banging on the windows, wishing he was somewhere warmer, somewhere different. And once he opened his eyes from doing that, he was on the beach below the Nightshade Castle to the south. And this, and I wonder if this is going to play a big part because we learned that besides rulers, only very few familial lines have flares. So like not all rulers are going to have flares. And is it because it's not guaranteed and they are rare. And then Grimm finds it strange that she has the same flair as her father, because he has the same flair as Cronin, but there's many generations in between him and Cronin. Whereas it's just her and her father, so he finds it strange, but he also did say anomalies do happen, but I don't believe that. There is a reason that she got the same flair as her father. So, does your theory was that she had killed her parents? Did she take their powers? Could she have taken their powers?
I don't know.
Kind of a good thought. So she then changes the subject and she brings up about talking to Astria and about the library having romance books about him. Grim didn't think it was funny, but Isla tells him that she really liked the library and then asked if this palace had one. He did tell her that it does have one and it holds their most ancient texts. Every piece was curated by Grimm's ancestors. Again, I hate that she's using him on this trip to get what she wants. She may really want to try with him, but she's going about the books the wrong way.
Yep.
Because she is using him and like, oh, I will try to be your wife. Those should be separate. Either fully do it without extra intentions or don't do it at all.
Yeah. All right, so going into the next chapter, we were introduced to the maze, which plays a much bigger part later
Yes.
on. And even then, we only get kind of like a snippet of how big of a part the maze is going to play. It's ancient, it's older than the castle itself. He asks if she wants to see it. Of course, she says yeah. It's enormous and had an energy like a shield with power pulsing in a mysterious way that she had and hadn't encountered before, which is a very interesting way of describing how powerful the maze is. He tells her that it was his favorite place as a child and that his guardians were replaced every year so an attachment would not be formed with anybody. They never stayed long enough to learn the maze, and he used to hide there hoping that they would never find him. So when his father found out that was his favorite place, that's where he liked to go, he set it on fire. The maze is stubborn, its power never wavered, and it took centuries to grow back after being burnt down. And he tells her that it's a very dangerous place and no power can be used in it, not even Nightshade, and that his father can even use any power against it. He had to set it on fire with a match. He basically confirms that obviously a ruler can be killed in it because it just nullifies your power. And that many of his extended family had, if lore is to be believed, that they had been killed there. And he's not afraid of it. He memorized everything about it, all of its turns and stuff like that. So they make their way through it, and at the center is good old Cronin's fucking coffin, which was suspicious to me from the beginning. Like when I seen that, I'm like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on right here? Why you in here?"
I think that's
You
what
know,
nullified the powers, though, because isn't it Shade Maid?
well, the coffin is shade made, but I think,
But
well,
we also find out
see,
later on what
that
she
hid,
confirms.
mhm, and that hid why nobody knew it was there, why he couldn't sense
I
that it was there, because I think the combination from the coffin just kinda, I don't know, I don't know if I believe that, honestly. I don't know.
I want to know how she figured that out.
Well, I mean, it kinda made sense if his body wasn't there and he had a flair for portaling, that his shit would, like,
I have a theory on that.
be different,
I have a theory on
but
that.
does it involve not thinking that he's dead? Because I kinda don't believe that he's
No,
actually dead.
it goes
I
into
kinda don't believe he's dead, especially if we know what we know.
it goes into the fact of what happens in the last chapter that we read with bodies and what we learn about certain things. It'll make sense. It'll make sense. I promise. But I have a theory.
I can't wait to hear it then, because I don't I don't know 100% yet what my theory is.
I think I know why the bodies are being dug up, if that makes sense.
Okay. So, the maze was built around Cronin's coffin. She studies it, she sees that it's shade bait, she knows what she's fucking looking for and everything, and she considers that maybe, knowledge was lost over time because they don't know where Lark is buried or has never mentioned Horace Ray's body. And so they're done with the maze. He takes her back inside to warm up, which I think is what she was kind of hoping for because the library has a fireplace. So, what do we go to the fucking Winter Palace for? To see the library. Obviously, they As she said, you can fucking go back and read the scene because they get hot
They
and
do.
heavy. I don't think
They
it's,
do the
like,
wham
that
bam.
spicy,
The wham
but
bam,
yeah,
thank
they
you,
do the
man. Y'all can read it
chitty
on your
chitty bang
own.
bang. But they get hot and heavy in the library, which she's kind of like, not caring so much anymore because she's let her feelings for Grimm come to the surface. So it's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna give in to temptation. Um, they fucking tear up the library. They send books flying off the shelves. And so they finish the chitty chitty bang bang, and she gets Grim to let her actually clean up the mess by mentioning how she's never had a library to herself, that there could be something useful to help find the portal, and then she's able to get him to leave her by saying that he's distracting so she can take out the feather and ask what she's looking for. The feather, because I don't think it's not who we think it is. Tells her that she's looking for a book that's cursed closed. So she starts looking, even though she isn't sure what she's looking at or looking for, when she spots a book on a shelf that remained by itself after the others were thrown off. Hello, red flag. Obviously, that's something. And She so it's described that it looked like the others. It had a thick black leather cover that was creased by time. The spine was engraved with a swirling pattern, but one thing that set it apart from the others was the strange stains against the pages. She could sense the power around it clicking against her bones, but when she turned the pages, she realized that the stains were blood. The book flies open, making her stumble back. She expects like a big storm to come out of it because it's cursed or something to kind of escape from it, but nothing happens because her flare saved her from the curse. So she's obviously impervious to curses. They don't affect her, and so nothing happens. And it even says like she was wrong if she had expected page after page of Skyers to fill the book. All of the pages were blank. So she whispers, "Help me find the portal." And she's flipping through it. The pages remain blank until the very end. So she decides to shut the book, start over, flips it from the beginning to see if she missed something. And then it begins forming things on the pages as if it changed every time it was read. So a few sentences would be like on part of the page and then it would have blank spaces and then like more sentences revealed not making any sense. But then she gets to the last page again and there's a skyer, an ornate marking that looked almost like a rose encased in an orb. Um And she wants to paint it upon her skin to kind of test it out, but knows that that would be a risk. Remembering the blacksmith's words, his warning and everything. So she flips back to the first page and starts again. And then Grim surprises her, takes her out to the village for dinner. Um, He asks her if she thinks that, like, they would be happy there, and she thinks about it, and she decides that they would, even though she hates the cold. The village was alive in a way she hadn't seen before. The community had survived centuries of curses, and it was clear that the families had known each other through generations, and it was beautiful. They made horrible choices in dinner, and then they get chocolate, and they go home and do the
Wham bam, thank you,
booty booty
ma'am.
bang bang. The booty booty bang bang. The Rudy bang bang.
They're making up for
Um,
lost time.
exactly. Yeah,
By her doing.
exactly, yeah. Which I feel like is too good to be true. Like, I feel like something's gonna happen or she's gonna get what she wants. She's to be like, "Deuces, bye-bye."
Well,
Like,
I have a little side note in my notes here about the whole thing. So
okay. So the next one, um, we're still at the Winter Palace. Grim tries to pull clothes from her wardrobe, which I think is hilarious that he had like he thinks of her, I always think of you and blah blah blah. But he chooses pants that would disintegrate in the snow, socks that were meant for being inside, and panties that aren't even suited for exercise is what he expected her to wear. Like not exactly knowledgeable for somebody who's been alive since the golden era. So they go for a walk and they talk about everything going on at the castle, to Lynx, to Wraith, and how they're getting along. And he kind of disapproves of like Lynx's name because he's not a lynx, he's a leopard. So he doesn't really care too much for the fact that she's calling him by a different animal.
That's the second person that has mentioned that because who was it? Was it Cal or Zed?
Yeah, one of them doesn't think that he's a leopard. They think he's different from that.
So
They don't
something
believe it. But
special.
he's also ginormous.
So something special with Lynx.
Yeah. So he finally gives in, refers to him by his name instead of just your leopard. And then they get into a snowball fight, and then they start using their powers, and then they get into this one-on-one standoff. And he makes a little snarky comment that he's never taken a woman on the mountain. And of course, she tells him, "You never will." And then she kind of just like unleashes herself like up there on the mountain. And he tells her that it suits her. Obviously, she agrees. She's feeling really fucking good. Like she can be herself around him. She's in an area to where she doesn't have to worry about hurting people. Like she knows that if anything, he can take whatever she puts out there, that he is strong enough to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have to worry, like, he is just all good.
I think
And then we get to
I think it's also because they both know what it would entail if she killed him.
mhm,
They'd both
yeah,
be dead. Or so we think, because of how powerful she is. Could she
mhm.
still survive if something happened to him?
So then we have, like, I don't know, the next day, a couple days later, whatever. He goes and takes Wraith flying. He's getting restless. She knows that she needs to take Lynx for a run, but she decides to spend more time going through the book. At this point, we really don't know how much time has passed, but like how much time like has passed that she's dedicated to flipping through the book continuously. But she's already collected a handful of Skyres, not knowing how to use them. Um, because I think she doesn't even have I don't know if she's got full Skyres or, like, if it's stated that she's got full Skyres or if they're just, like, portions of Skyres, um, but she doesn't want him to know about her research, and every time she flips through the book, it reveals a little bit more that she's able to put together. Oh, my next set of notes. She had a few of them that were whole, but none of them had descriptions, as she's going through it, but a sentence catches her eye, on her 1000th round, I guess, that kind of jumped out at her before she had finished reading it. It settled, and before it settled and disappeared, it wasn't a Skyer, it was something important, something she would need when she discovered the right marking. It read, "Bones hold more power than blood. The most powerful Skyers must be formed with them."
This is where my
Which
theory
obviously,
starts. This is where my theory starts.
you think somebody stole his bones to maybe they didn't actually portal away?
Okay, so not
Okay,
so
we
much.
gotta wait till you go through the last chapter before you, like, reveal your theory,
Um,
because we can wait.
yes, oh yes, okay, because it goes with
Okay.
what happens in the next chapter. But this is where my theory started to kind of form. This like because read what you just wrote about bones.
Mm,
Bones are power. Okay, so when the next chapter happens,
Her blood is power. You think it's gonna be like blood and bone?
no, it's what happens. What comes missing.
Yeah, they
Okay.
portaled away, and that's why they think that that's a portal.
No, no, not him. I'll explain it later. I'll explain it in the
What am
next
I
chapter, okay?
missing? What am I
Did you not read
missing?
the last chapter?
I did read the last
There's
chapter,
something
but
that
the
goes
only
missing.
the only thing that the bones are missing,
Okay, yeah.
but she explains it that she thinks that they disappeared because of his flair for portaling, and that's what opened the portal
My
in the
theory
coffin.
is, so we'll just talk about the theory now. My theory is who's ever digging up these bones and taking them, they're looking for his.
I kind of have a theory on who I think it is.
If it's who your husband ruined, then I think so too.
Yeah,
And I think she's looking for his bones because nobody knows that he was there in that
yeah.
casket in the middle of the maze. Nobody knows how to get through the maze except for Grimm. So I feel like the bones were taken because bones are power. So they're either using the bones to become powerful or they're looking for Cronin's bones now that his bones are not in that casket.
It could be possible that they are
That
looking for bones
that's my theory.
that are powerful, not necessarily just his, but like powerful bones in general. Like if it's not just royal people that have like powerful players and shit like that, that maybe they're hoping to kind of like channel power
But
from somebody.
if it's who we think it is, they're trying to go back. So I think they're looking for his bones. That's my theory. That's my
I
theory.
like it. I like it. So, rolling with that, she knows that she would need infinitely powerful bones if she's gonna close the portal and extend her life, and she knows exactly where to fucking get them. Bitch.
So what does she do?
Why? It's
Impulsive
I put
decisions.
I swear she can be so naive and awful at times.
Impulsive.
So, yes, she has memorized all of the turns that Grim had taken as precaution and wondered if she was making a grave mistake. Yes, bitch, you are making an awful fucking mistake. I
And
don't know why you even
obviously,
followed through with this.
and obviously she did not follow. She did not memorize the route they took.
Well, yeah. I mean, she kind of did, but didn't expect what happened had to happen. So she kind of took a wrong turn. We all know what happens when you take a wrong fucking turn. Okay, it doesn't end well for anybody.
I mean, they made movies about it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Those
Never
hills
seen
have
them.
eyes.
Never
Those
seen
hills have
them, but
eyes. Okay, okay. She steps into the fucking labyrinth. Okay, what is you doing? Ariana, what is you doing here? Anyways, sorry, I bought a Coke from the vending machine at work and its name had Ariana on there. And I was like, Ariana, I can't help it. Think of that every time. So she's in the fucking maze, power humming inside the hedges as it's like smothering her own. She could feel the power biting against her cheeks at her fingertips. It was too quiet, as if life had been stolen within its walls. And she imagined what it would be like to be trapped forever, to go crazy inside, searching for a way out. So she flips the book open. Nothing is showing. It's just blank parchment, not a single marking. When she hears a fucking growl, and I swear, now I think the fucking beast in the mountain has to be from the other world because this one
oh,
is
yeah.
described so similar. No eyes, it only senses by blood, smells like,
Hmm.
So behind her is a creature, manages to sink its teeth into her calf, filling the air with the smell of blood. It was a snarling, four legged creature with a squished, angry face and tusks coming out of its front. Okay. Why did I picture a giant pug with boar tusks coming out of its
But
mouth.
because of the smushed
Okay,
face,
exactly. Yes. So, it's a creature from
I
the other
was
world.
I pictured a warthog with like sewed eyes, like
Better sense. That makes better sense. Yeah. Squished angry face, and I immediately
Pumbaa.
pictured a
Pumbaa with
giant
no eyes. Okay.
yes. Okay.
Pumbaa with
Okay,
no
I like that better.
eyes.
It does have a squished face. Like, it's kinda, like, squished with, like, a piggy nose.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's a creature from the other world that came with a storm, even though there hadn't been a storm in weeks. She had wondered if the beast had been hiding there the whole time or if it had come from further away. But as I said, it was just like the ones in the cave that it couldn't see. It went off smell and hearing. So at this point, her ankle is bleeding really fucking bad. And she tries to go back towards towards the entrance, and she finds 3 more. So we have 4 of these fucking beasts. At least I'm assuming they're all the same because these aren't described as any
Right.
different. That are waiting for her, smelling her. Immediately, all she can do is run, but she's weighed down by the heavy fabrics of her clothes. She's got one of those cloaks on, and so she takes it, she throws it in the opposite direction to try to get away from them. And at this point, she's lost. She took that wrong fucking turn somewhere. So, of course, it's going to end badly. And so I think I jumped a little bit, but basically, she gets the idea that she does need to get higher. And so she wants to climb the hedges, but I don't think we're there yet. Uh, I was trying to go off my
Yeah,
notes like
after
by
she
myself without following the book because I didn't think she opens the book before she climbs the hedge, but she's kind of got the idea going.
no, the book doesn't open yet. So what she's gonna climb the hedges after she like deterred them elsewhere. She climbs the hedges, but then they come back. She falls down because and the book fell out, and then that's when I don't
Okay.
think she physically opens the book if I remember correctly. She either opens the book or she doesn't physically open the book. It opened from the
No,
fall.
she
Okay, yeah. Oh,
I think
she had it
she
against her chest.
mhm, and I think she kinda, like, turns around and just, like, opens it
Well, they were
and
about to
lets
attack
it
her.
kinda yeah.
She's laying on the ground with the book to her chest, and they were about to attack
Mhm.
her. So then she opened it, and
Yeah.
that's how that happened.
So nothing happens at first, and then all of a sudden, a scream that cleaves through the air like a clap of thunder happens, and a demon crawls through its pages. And I fucking pictured the girl from The Ring, like, coming
Oh,
out
coming
of
out
this
the
book.
well.
It's like how it comes out of the TV and stuff, like, in the book.
My
Like,
goodness.
so we have the demon crawling through the pages, described as a winged
Go ahead.
and sinewy beast thing, whatever, that
I'm not
didn't
gonna
have a face,
lie.
it just had a mouth.
I pictured the Dementors. I pictured the Dementors like
I
flying out of the book.
I pictured an anime creature, and I can't think of where I'm thinking of. I'll have to see,
A
but I've
Yu-Gi-Oh
seen it.
character. A
No,
Yu-Gi-Oh
not a
monster.
Yu-Gi-Oh character. Like something Connor has watched. Like,
See, I don't know any of
I
the
don't
newer
know.
anime stuff.
Okie dokie. So we have a winged sinewy creature that doesn't have a face, just a mouth with more teeth than she had ever seen in any type of beast. Um, there were like rows of them, sharp as stacked blades, hits the ground in front of her, resting on the talons of its wings, that even the four-legged creatures were like, fuck this shit, and
Mm-hmm.
started backing up. It lunges forward and starts ripping them to ribbons. Just blood splattering as the creatures fought. Isla's getting covered in it, and she knows that she's not safe yet because when the demon finishes with the beast, it turns for her. And of course, she's still lost because she took a wrong fucking turn because she thought this was gonna be a grand idea.
Yeah.
And so she's climbing again to get to the top of the hedges. And so she gets to the top. She's running across. She's getting really tired. And I honestly didn't expect her to still try to head toward the fucking coffin. Like,
I
just get the
know.
fuck out. Get the fuck out. Why are you
She's
still headed
too
toward the coffin?
she's too determined to get to what she needs. She wants his
She
bones.
is. She is. So she tries to open it. Nothing happens at first, almost like it was enchanted, but she remembers what the blacksmith had said when he told her that her blood was power. So she smears blood from her ankle and was able to open it just to find out that the fucking coffin was empty. It was fucking empty. His bones are gone.
Mm-hmm.
So now she's like, fuck, what am I going to do? Like, she's in more of a panic because the beast is still hunting her. And she hears a screech, like nails on a chalkboard coming from somewhere behind her. And so she's running across the top, and then all of a sudden, good old Grim, she hears his roar. And I don't know why I giggle at this every time, okay? Like, is it a legit beastie roar? Is it like a bleh? Like when I'm talking about in like a hardcore screaming music song, and they're like, I can't
Oh
even do
yeah, yeah,
it,
yeah.
but like they do
Like a
that deep
screamo,
growl, or
like
like,
the
is it something that's
screamos.
kind of like that? Yeah.
Okay, you kind of describing that almost. I wonder if it's more like okay in the Gladiator movies, like where they like yell right before they start running and like go into battle. Is it something like that?
Okay, so okay,
It
that
just came
makes
to
more
mind.
sense.
That one
I'm
just came to
like,
mind, like when you're like trying to describe it and you find it funny. I'm like, wait a minute, is it like the
yeah.
Gladiator movies that Dad used to watch? Like, they yell
'Cause it
and then they go into battle.
yeah, so, like a war cry type of
Yeah,
thing.
because it's more
Because he,
deep.
like
It's not so high pitched. It's that deep
yeah.
type
Well,
before
and,
they go like.
what I was trying to think of is probably a little too heavy. You probably don't listen to it, but the guy from Slaughter to Prevail, Alec,
I might know some
has
other
an
music.
awesome fucking growl. And so that's kind of like kind of what I pictured is like this sexy growl. But then I'm like,
He's fighting a demon.
is it one of those situations where it's like I just seen this TikTok where it was like he licked his top teeth and then smiled with his bottom. So it was like,
No, bottom, bottom. You gotta stick your bottom out. Not your you gotta stick your bottom teeth.
okay, but like, is it one of those types of situations where I'm just like, I don't know. So, anyways, she hears a roar. Grim is there. This point, she's lost a ton of blood and she's on the verge of passing out. And the last thing that she remembers is falling down into his arms. So then we wake up a little while later and she wakes up in the castle, still at the Winter Palace, but she's having flashes of the maids and the creatures, her ankle. She sees that it wrapped and that he took care of her. But she starts to tell him about the. He says that he had seen them or seen what was left of them. And she brings up that somebody or something had saved her. And he holds up the book. So he had found it because at this point she had like kind of dropped it again after everything was going down. Then he holds up the fucking head of the faceless demon. And she says, it saved me. And it tried to tear him to pieces. So then
But it
he's
also tried to
like,
tear her to pieces.
yeah, exactly. So he asks her what the book is, what she was doing in the maze, and she's not sure exactly how much she should kind of share with him because she remembered how his advisors had warned him and called her a traitor and a snake. And
Hmm.
she noticed that he didn't really look upset. He looked kind of confused and hurt about everything. So she goes with telling him part of the truth and that it might be a way to help her find the portal, which obviously she confirms that it did. And she confirms to him, or kind of admits to him, not really confirms, that the portal is in the coffin. He narrows his eyes at her, considering what she's saying, and she continues and says, "It's empty. His flare was portaling. I think his bones created it, became the portal." And out loud, he says, "The maze hid its power." And she nods. And she kind of wants to feel relief in this moment that they had found the portal, but also notes that the portal doesn't look like it's even open. Like, it was just she opened it and it
But
was an empty coffin. It wasn't actually like, a swirl. I'm assuming that she's thinking maybe it was gonna be like this swirly portal that you were gonna be able to kinda see like
or
a ripple or something
similar,
alluding to.
something similar to the star stick, maybe. Like when she
Yes,
draws her
yeah.
puddle of stars. But
Yes, exactly.
if the power is hiding, his coffin, like the power of the maze, nobody can use their powers. It's harder to get through, is it masking this portal? Is the shade made masking this portal? And
Like,
you can't
lay
see it.
you're gonna lay in it and you're still gonna fucking disappear, but it's not gonna be obvious to the naked eye. You're not gonna be able to just open it and be like, "Oh, hey, look, let's travel to another fucking world." You're going to happen upon it by accident. But at the same time, who's gonna be like, "I'm just gonna lay in this empty coffin that is
Yeah.
big known rulers and, oops, I'm in another
Selfie.
world." Yeah. Um But the portal doesn't look open, so she has no idea how to permanently close it, if it's even possible when she can't even use power around it. Um, and then she notices that the swirl on her arm that she had her little skyer swirl that she had kept hidden with the shadows was exposed because her sleeves had been torn by the beasts in the maze, and it's fully visible. Grim notices it and basically is like, "Bitch, what the fuck is that? Like,
Hmm.
what? What did you do? The fuck did you do?"
And I'm so glad that that wasn't the last chapter we had to read. Am
I know.
I good? Did you have more?
Yes.
Okay.
Nope.
So
That's all I got.
on that note, into the next chapter, she finally tells him everything about the Skyres, about the augur and the feather she spoke through. And he wasn't having any of it because he didn't want her soul to be the price. But Isla stood her ground, saying she was going
Mhm.
to keep using them. The guilt and the blood on her hands would never be erased. She wants to make sure everyone won't die with her. And even though he doesn't agree with her, she knew he wouldn't take away her choice again. And she's using it to her advantage. Like she's literally using this to her
Laying
advantage.
it on thick. She's laying it on thick because she knows that if she sells it that way, he is going to accept that that is what is going to
Well,
happen. Like,
he then,
and
because
allow that.
he then tells her he'd choose her over the world every time. He'd burn the world for her, but he doesn't want them to live in ashes. He doesn't want the world to die. He's been trying to find his own solutions. And he opens up to her that he wanted to have a kid with her. Like, but after she tells him about the augur's read on her lifespan, it makes that impossible in his mind. And it makes him happy. It had made him wish for another life, another universe where it was just them. One where they were free from all responsibilities because if they had a hair, they have an heir, it would help them. Like their realms would, well, at least Nightshade would be covered. Isla wanted it too. A life with nothing binding her. Okay. I love this, but I also hate it. Um, because what's gonna happen when Oro shows up again? Is she gonna sneak around with him? Will she be honest with him? Will she let him go? Like, is she gonna string him along? Is she gonna play them both? Like, that is my thought process right now. Like, what's gonna happen when he shows up again? And then
It'll
I
be all
had
bad.
quotes.
That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, because like the last time he showed up, she hid him in her room and then portals him back to his room and he wants her to stay. And that's kind of where they left things, before she was shot with the arrows. But what is going to happen when he comes up? And I think, and this is jumping, but if you, like, everybody has seen, the little, what the author has came out about the book for that Oro and Grimm have to work together. So, who's, in my opinion, one of them is going to see how the other feels about her and how she feels about one of them. One of them feelings are going to be stronger than the other on her end, I believe, and they're going to see that. So, I feel like maybe one of them will sacrifice themselves. I don't know. It's going to be hard telling. It's going to be hard telling. Um, but I have a quote for what he says. He tells her that he's holding everything that he's ever wanted. His eyes were almost glimmering with intensity. You said before, I don't know what love is, but I do. I know it means us being infinite. It means our fates being tied together, regardless of where we are or whether we live or die. He trailed his knuckles down her cheek. I'm not sure of much in this world, Isla, but I am sure of this. My love for you doesn't know reason. It doesn't know limit. It doesn't know death. In every universe, every timeline, I am yours and you are mine. I thought that was like so sweet.
It is.
Uh Then we kind of jump because nothing else really happens after that. Just that they're
I didn't
living
think this was
in.
her. I didn't believe that this was her. I'm not gonna lie. I thought she was possessed.
Like the whole
Just because
time
of the
they're there.
way um well, when she goes to visit the augur in this next part, I did not think that it was her because it
Kind of
describes her
jumps.
grin as poisonous. I'm like, this can't be her. Like,
But
it's like
it's kind of confirmed from the augur,
it is.
like because of
It
her blood.
is.
But so now we're jumping and she revisits the augur. So when he asks for hearts, she tells him, I'll feed you the one in your chest. And he just thought that was like hilarious. But she wanted to know if he had any of the prophet's blood. He does have the skull and blood. Isla wanted to know if she put a tracking device on the bone, if it would lead her, and it didn't really say, but I'm assuming it's the lost pages because he wrote the book in his blood. So she wants to try that to see if it can track the lost pages. She didn't know how to do a tracking skyer yet, but told the augur she would, or she will learn. She was It didn't. Okay, this kind of part confused me because it stated that she was bleeding from her nose and the corner of her mouth, but it didn't state how she was bleeding from her nose or mouth. Like, did it just happen?
Um, I think so. I kind of felt that as like a sign that the Skyers are already feeding
Mm.
off of her
Well, because he
because
did say, yeah, when he
he
tasted
could
her
taste
blood,
it.
he could taste the price of the Skyers souring it already.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that the more she makes, the worse it gets. He also tasted the guilt that she wore. He then tells her, You are both light and dark, and so much more. You don't even know it, but you will soon. Then he states that the traitor, she's been uncovered, she's rising. So we know it's a she. Which then confirms that there is no male currently in the Wildling Newland area or Wildling realm altogether. So do they not just like birth boys when they do have kids? It's all
See, I don't know.
females.
We don't get any sort of context about that.
She does state that it was her guardians, but he just says she doesn't know. The traitor is closer than you realize. Is she disguising as somebody? Like, is she disguised as somebody
I
in
don't
it?
know.
Then we jump a little
I
bit.
think we're about to find out, though.
Yeah. She's going back to, the palace. Grim finds Isla on the back of Lynx's back. Wraith was able to fly some, and her and Lynx were both relieved. I love that Lynx and Wraith are like they're bonding now. Like they're getting closer, even though Lynx is still like kind of annoyed, similar to from Wraith. Uh, Isla instantly knew something was wrong. Another gravesite had been ransacked, worse than before. Upon arriving, they realized the graves had actually been raided. The bones were missing, the holes were empty. And this, like I said, my theory earlier, whoever's taking the bones, I believe, are looking for Cronin's bones after what we learned in the maze, since his are one, they're powerful. He has the portaling, and if his grave is truly the portal, makes me believe that they're looking for his bones to use for a portal, like to somehow portal to get to back to the other realm, the other world. Um, Isla has Grim take her to her guardians. She channels Oro's flare, asking them what all they did not do. They tell her they did not desecrate any graves and they did not kill her parents.
They
Isla
didn't destroy the
realizes,
night.
yeah, they didn't destroy the Nightbane. Isla realizes that she did not get no sour taste in her mouth because they were telling the truth. And then later that night, it was in the middle of the night. Isla gets up, telling Grim that she'd be right back when he had woken up from her move-in. But she actually goes to her island, so Grim doesn't witness the pain that it took to create her scars. So what does she do? She dips the feather into her vein to collect some blood, then starts creating the shape upon a piece of bark that she had taken from one of the trees. As her shapes closed, she paid the price. Her body had seized and she began thrashing on the ground. Instead of feeling fire through her veins, it felt as though they were being plucked out of her body. The pain was too much, causing her powers to rise. Plumes of black smoke barreled through the woods, down the beach, ending in flames that hissed into ice when they met sea. The forest floor lifted like a carpet and became a field of thorns. When the pain became too much, she fell into darkness. Uh, then by the time she woke up, it was already afternoon. She didn't think she'd be able to try the tracking scar again until she got it right. She didn't think she was going to survive the next time because she did pay the price this time. But when she portaled back to her room, she was changing her clothes when she heard some commotion outside. Grim comes in, asks where she was. She tells him partial truth, partial lie, because she didn't want to share the island just yet with him, even though she really wanted to. So she just tells him that, that she was on the Newlands, the Wadley Newlands, experimenting with the scars, which that part was the true part. But while she was away, there were attacks and many people were dead. No one was sure why anyone would attack Nightshade, but they were still working on getting more witness accounts. Isla wanted to go to town, but Grim tells her to stay and rest up because she didn't sleep the night before. But she knew there was something that he wasn't saying, so she follows him to the throne room undetected where he was talking with Astria. All the witnesses were saying the same thing, but Grim said they were confused and didn't know what they saw. But Astria states they were reliable witnesses. They were old, like I think it was stated that they were previous soldiers or previous. I think they were soldiers. Uh, they had seen a wildling coming up from the ground, leveling the town with power they have never seen before, pulling bodies straight into the dirt, suffocating them. And this kind of goes back, like, are they using the bones for power? And are they looking for also for Cronin's bones for more power and to be able to the portal? And if it is who we think it is, it makes sense to why they would want that.
Part of me believes it's not her, and part of me feels like it could have been her.
I think it is.
Only because no, I like Isla.
Oh. Oh.
Because what if this is her price to pay for getting the Skyer wrong? She
She
fucked up the
unleashed her
Skyer instead of
She
flaying
blacks
her
out.
skin from her bones, she blacked out.
Oh.
Who fucking knows what she did? She woke up hours later with no memory, covered in dirt. Like, the dirt might not even just
Oh.
be from
Oh. I
being
like
on the
that.
island. But what if this is her price to pay for getting it
Mm.
wrong?
Oh, I like that.
Like,
Because
so I'm like
Astria,
torn. I'm like, part of me feels
uh,
like it's
yeah, because
not
she blacked
her
out.
because it'd be too obvious, but at the same time, it there's a price to pay if you fuck up. And like,
But
what
normally
if this
it's
is her price to
dying,
pay?
but the curse, excuse me, it could be her curse because she's immune to curses, so it's going to affect what she's
Yeah,
trying to protect.
yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
So
Really do like that. Because Astria states that the witness had seen her. The description matches, and one had seen her in person at the court. They were talking about Isla. Grimm asks if she's accusing his wife of destroying a town, to which Astria says she's done it before.
blow, bitch. Blow fucking blow. And I'm surprised that it didn't end the chapter with him killing her right then and there for even having the audacity to fucking put that accusation out there.
But
Truth or
she's
not,
not
truth
wrong.
or not,
Yes, I know.
she's not wrong.
And that's
But
probably
she didn't do
why.
it on purpose either, out of vengeance.
I
She
know.
didn't know the repercussions of what she was doing. She acted in the moment, not even realizing she had fucking powers, let alone how strong she was gonna be. And
I know, but and I think
like,
that's maybe why he spared her because he knew like she wasn't wrong.
mm.
But we
Anyways,
also
there's my
don't
unhinged
know.
theory for this.
I like it
I guess I did have
though.
one.
I
So I
like
have two
it.
theories. She killed her fucking parents, not on purpose, on accident.
And I'm wondering if that's how
And
she got her dad's flare. Like I said, did she siphon their power? And that's how she killed them. Like she took their power. Because who was it? Was it Remlar? Was it the augur had stated your parents left you with something special?
I just assumed it was like the star stick or something.
I don't think that. But it was also in the
I don't really
prophet.
know what I thought it was.
The prophet followers also said there would be a female that would come and either save the world or destroy it. So, like you said, is her price to pay what took them out? That would be the curse. That would be her destroying the world because she's trying to save it.
Oh, maybe the something her parents left her was something special because she walks that line between life and death.
All I have to say is, though, we better find out what they leave her in this book. I can't wait till December. I can't wait till December to
Well,
know what they left
because we
her
have the
with.
next book, because there's only 2 books after Grimm and Oro,
There's a
and
third
that's
one?
it. Like,
All right. Thank you for watching or listening to Chapters Over Coffee, and join us next week for pages 252 through 311. We are just 3 weeks away from finishing up book 3. After this series, we will do another book while we wait for the Oro and Grimm book to come out. And then we'll be waiting for book 4 to come out. Oh, and we'll also have that bonus chapter. I believe that's supposed to be in Nightbane and Grimm's point of view when that special edition comes out as well. Plenty of content coming everyone's way. Can't wait.